Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Lewis Brown. Today is May 4th, 2022. I want to thank you for joining me this evening. As you know, Local 1000 is doing some interesting things right now. And so I want to get people's opinion. I'm sure everyone realizes that Local 1000, under my leadership, we were fighting to ensure you had a great telework agreement to ensure that your dignity wasn't violated like it's been violated before in the past. But it appears that recently Local 1000 has signed a new temporary telework agreement. And so some people have put it up on Facebook, that side letter agreement that I didn't sign for. And I know a lot of people have strong opinions about, is this a quality telework agreement that's going to stay in place until June 30th, 2023? Remember, the members stated they wanted more money, and they told us in two different surveys to keep fighting for more money. And so when I was leading that discussion, nothing below $100 was going to be acceptable for everyone equally, whether you had an office space or not. Recently, Local 1000, not under my leadership, caved.
Sherry Fisher joined the meeting.
They caved. They gave in. They gave up. They accepted whatever the state wanted them to accept, which was $50 for those who are remote centered versus $25 for those who have an office centered. And so Local 1000, not under my leadership, let me repeat this to you again, not under my leadership, simply just gave up and continued the status quo from the past. That whenever politicians tell you to bend over, that's what we do. Remember, I was elected to stop all of that madness, to stop the political games, to fight for you. So, it appears that the status quo of Local 1000 continues to survive like a virus, and it continues to contaminate and hold people, quote, paralyzed. That's what it appears. And so the voice of the membership who voted me in to be the president, to create a new culture for Local 1000, the voice of the membership is being destroyed. It's being ignored. It's being silenced. And an example is this recent telework agreement. But there's something bigger at play, because this is the election year for governor for the state of California. There's something bigger at play, and it's about money. They're trying to convince you. Anybody wants to say anything, just raise your hand. I'm watching Facebook at the same time. They're trying to convince you that by purpling up on Wednesday, wearing the colors purple and gold, which is the colors of SEIU International in Washington, D.C., by wearing their colors, that's going to make us stronger. That's the status quo. They're trying to convince you by wearing purple, that's going to show the state of California how organized and how strong we are together. That's the same trick, the same stunt they've done all of these years. We're purple on Wednesday. When they were wearing purple on Wednesday, and we had at the highest, I believe, from our PowerPoint presentations in 2021, was it in 2017? And I think back in 2011, we were at a high of 66%. But you still never got a quality contract. So the state of California didn't care about what colors you were wearing, because they knew that you would cave in, that whatever they told you to do, you would do. Remember the 2010 PLP, the 2012 PLP? Well, maybe you've forgotten those. What about the recent one, when you lost 2 days? The fiscal year 2021 PLP. 2 days a month for a whole year, and you were scheduled to lose 2 more days the following fiscal year. Maybe that wasn't enough for you to lose. And when you were losing all that money, did they ask you to purple up then on Wednesday? I'm just being honest with you. If you continue to do the same things you've done in the past into the present and into the future, then what do you expect to get? The same treatment that you've been getting your whole life as a state employee for the state of California. And so what they have tried to do successfully currently is convince you that the politicians are your bosses. And I'm the only person who ran for office for Local 1000 that told you that this is a partnership, because that's what a labor union does. It partners with management to get things done in an organized manner for a specified period of time under guaranteed wages, absent of unsafe working conditions, and absent of mistreatment of management. So I see a hand raised. I see one person on Facebook, a Stephanie Harrell. I'm so confused as to why you're in trouble. I'm not in trouble. If she's referring that to me. Local 1000 is in trouble. We're all in trouble together because we're not going to get a quality contract because we're ignoring the voice of membership. And we're not standing our ground. If that's the kind of trouble you mean, Stephanie. All right, so I see a hand raised, so I'll go to that person. Evie Lynch. Go ahead, Evie.
Thank you, President. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, loud and clear.
Thank you for taking my call. I first want to say thank you for continuing the fight. I know that it must be very difficult for you just to go through this and continue the constant barrage of mistreatment and lies that come through. I was hopeful that we would get some resolution and Ms. Annika would actually drop this silly HR 1 because it really doesn't do us any good. What I did realize is no one answered my questions from last week as far as me asking them how spending all this money on lawyers to fight this HR 1 benefits Local 1000 when we should be spending that same money on our people, on our members. I have to tell you, President Brown, I am very discouraged because we're supposed to have leaders who care about the members, but what I keep hearing is, oh, the board this and the board that and the board this. What it feels like to me is they have forgotten that the board is just a group of stewards. And we forgot what the meaning of stewardship is. When you're a steward of anything, it's not yours. You're taking care of someone else's property, someone else's assets. So I don't understand why we keep talking about the board this and the board that. The board is made of stewards. And prior to being a steward, you have to be a member. So we members said, okay, we want some of our stewards to represent us in a way that truly represents us. That means you come back to us and you inform us of because we can't all 100,000 go to a board meeting. So of course it makes sense for us to elect certain individuals to say, okay, give me the information and I take it back to my people. But that's not what's going on. Instead of being a true organization, a true union, unified under one, it's become a corporation. And I would like to know why it's okay for Bill Hall to do all of the things that they accused you of doing. And him being a white male, no one has spoken up about it. But you do the things that he's doing currently, and you get HR 1. I don't understand that. How is it that those individuals, those stewards that sit on the board or elected officials, how could they stand for this? Because if the state was doing this, even under the social justice platform that we have currently,
Right.
we would be screaming, no, this is wrong. So why is it okay to do it to one of our own?
So, hold on a second. I want you to stay on for a second. I want to thank you first for calling in, and to people who are coming in late on Facebook and tonight on Zoom. I want people to know we're talking about the Tulloch Agreement that was recently signed, and how we basically just gave up, but not under my leadership. And I also want to acknowledge Stephanie Harrow for voting for me. Thank you, Stephanie Harrow. Thank you, Elsa, for saying to not stop fighting, don't give up. I have not been removed. I'm on a, quote, suspension until we can clear this matter up. But back to what Evie Lynch is saying about why Bill Hall is being allowed to do this. And she touched on the aspect, or maybe she didn't want to say it loud and clearly. This is about money and race. This is the foundation of our country, along with religious freedom and the freedom of speech. So some people get the freedom of speech to do what they want to do, and other people don't get that same freedom of speech because of the color of their skin. People have told me, don't talk about race.
Run up on my heels one more time and get one of them slam door in your face.
So what I would tell people is, I belong to a union that's really a social justice organization. And with my election victory, and by me fighting for everyone equally, regardless of your skin color, regardless of your religious beliefs or whatever, your sexual orientation or whatever, I was standing up to politicians. And the way this social organization has been run from its very beginning, that's not what it was intended to do. This is a social justice organization that basically lets the politicians run all over you. And because I have stopped that, because of the voice of the voters who said enough is enough, because I have stopped that and I was fighting for you, now you see them trying to run me out of office. They're trying to discredit me in any which way but loose. And when they made that sexist, racist, homophobic statement about me, quote, sucking a man's penis, I can suck a man's penis, I can eat a man's penis, by some of our leadership in Local 1000, what they were basically telling you is they had no respect for the voice of membership. Forget the fact that I'm a black man in this country, but they had no respect for the voice of the membership on who they voted for to lead this organization to becoming a, quote, labor union. Now, some people say, well, you were too emotional, you were too passionate, you came across as angry initially in the months of July and August, possibly. Everyone has an opinion about what's anger and what's passion and what's patriotic. Everyone has an opinion on these words. It's all subjective. But here's what I would tell you. We're not going to give up. And yes, I'm discouraged, but I haven't lost faith, Evie. And to the people who have come on here on Zoom tonight, not many people have come on tonight. Local 1000 is trying to break the will of those who have voted for new leadership, for a real labor leader for the first time in Local 1000 history. And so Local 1000, with the help of SEIU International in DC, they're trying to silence your voice, demoralize you, destroy you, try to take all hope from you. It's no different than, coming from a poverty, drug-infested, crime-riddled environment. They try to take all of your hope from you and tell you they're doing the very best for you. And so when people say, hey, we want to thank Bill Hall, a person who was in a position that he should not be in because it's an illegal position that was created, a person who ran for his own DLC presidency against no one. He never had received a vote from anyone in all these elections he's run against. Nobody in his DLC knows who he is. But yet he acts like he's speaking for all Local 1000, but he's not. But he's not. And so people on Facebook, spouses have watched me, and you have seen these people try to break me. And this is the funny thing about, quote, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter too. It was never trying to diminish non-black people. What black people in this country was saying was, our lives matter too. And so the first part was our interaction with the police. But what you're seeing with what they're trying to do against me is a person of African descent in a position of power who's fighting the hypocrisy of a labor union or quote social justice organization that says they're for social justice, they're for not having any borders, they're for treating people with fairness and respect, but yet here's a person of color who was elected by all people in this union who cannot get the same treatment. That's the hypocrisy of Local 1000, and that's the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party that I belong to. And so when people say, Richard, why can't you find people to help you? I'm asking people to cash at me. Because I need the money because Local 1000 has taken the attorneys from me. Because what they're trying to do is take away all of my voice, and they're trying to demoralize the supporters who voted for me, and those many people who did not vote for me. They're trying to destroy your will.
Again.
I'm so sorry. So go ahead, Evie. I'm so sorry. I see your hand raised again, Evie.
Thank you,
Okay.
President Brown. I do appreciate all of your words. They are encouraging because, sometimes it comes just in the nick of time. Every day I have to fight this growing feeling to just give up. But like you say, we're not quitters. So I would like to once again ask Miss Annika, if you are there on Facebook or if you're listening or if you have people listening for you, please, I would just like to know how is this benefiting us members to have an HR 1 against our duly elected president? Why? Because this is costing us so much more. When you guys get on and you talk about how we're supposed to be one team and, the VPs and Bill Hall are supposed to, they say they're working together. You say, we're united, the executive team. Well, the executive team starts with the president. If you look at our policy file, the president calls the executive team. So the president is the main part of the executive team, and the VPs are there to assist him. So the president makes those decisions, and based on the decisions that the president makes, he gets assistance from the VPs. So you don't have an executive team without the president. There's no chairperson in our policy file. And to create a false policy file to suit your own agenda is deceitful, it's immoral, it's unethical. Because if I decided to create a chairperson position,
Where's the email from Cassie Dunham?
and then put myself in it, in that position, well, everybody would be screaming, self-serving. So, Bill Hall, do the job that you chose to do in the first place. Why don't you do your DLC job? That's the one you should be concentrating on, because when I was on membership drive and I went into your DLC, your members didn't know who you were. They didn't know who you were. So how is it if you can't lead a district successfully? How do you feel that now it's your turn to kick out our president that we elected and take his seat and lead the state? That just doesn't make sense to me.
So go ahead.
No, I'm done, President Brown. I would really like for the rest of the executive team to please speak on it.
Okay. So I want to thank Evie Lynch for calling in and saying that, and if she wants to raise her hand again, she can. I'm going to give other people a chance to talk. She raises excellent points, and I want people on Facebook to hear this. She says nobody even knew who Bill Hall was in his own DLC. She went to his DLC. Those people in DLC 744 don't even know who Bill Hall is, and they still don't know. And when he says that he's working on behalf of Local 1000, no, he's not. No, he's not. He's working on behalf of politicians. And that's why you see them agreeing to that side letter agreement for telework. The one that disrespects you. The one that says that they will decide as the final decision maker if you try to grieve your telework agreement. Listen to this. Remember I told you, I'm the only one that tells you we will no longer have contracts where Cal HR is the final decision maker on 5.11 dignity. I'm the only person who ran for office in 2018 and 2021 who told you these things. Because these other people don't care about you. And when Evie talks about the VPs are here to assist the president, she's absolutely right. The president sets the pace for the organization, not the board. The president is the face of the organization. And so when they had that illegal board meeting and they tried to make Bill Hall this chair illegally, and they tried to transfer all the powers from the president to the chair, that is the hypocrisy of this organization that we belong to. That's the hypocrisy. And what is the cost? Is it just financial cost? Or what's more than just the financial cost? Our union, and I use the word union loosely, we're not unified. And remember, I have said to you over and over again, anytime Bill Hall or these VPs want to do a live debate with me, here I am. But no one wants to do a live debate with me. You know why? Because I tell the truth, and they don't. I want to tell Lori Watson, thank you for your vote. I'm watching Facebook while I'm doing the Zoom. Thank you for your vote, Lori Watson. Thank you, Stephanie Harrow. Please keep praying for me, Stephanie Harrow. I'm glad you believe in God like I believe in God. Yes, there's work to do. And I was doing the work. They tried to convince you, and they still are, that I wasn't doing the work, but that's not true. I did a lot of things for a lot of people in this organization. I just don't brag about it. But those people know. A lot of people in this union knows. Adriana Grandes, please keep praying for me. This is tough when I'm going through, because I'm going through it publicly in front of everyone. Sometimes when we have tough times in life on our jobs or with our families or whatever, we can kind of keep it private, and only a small group of people will know. But what I'm going through is this, as I call it, a local monthalizing lynching and a highly crafted castration of my dignity. That's what I'm going through. Because I have stood the ground and I'm fighting for everyone, and my 10-point platform that I never forgot, I was implementing with no help. They want us to quit. They want us to give up and quit and let things continue to be what they've always been. And that is you losing money in these childlike condescending contracts. They wanted to demoralize us. They want us to argue among ourselves. That's what they want. All right, I see a hand raise. Peter, go ahead, Peter. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Richard. Hey, I just, it's more of a comment than anything. I'm just really disappointed in the acceptance of the telework policy. Not so much that it's because we're only getting $50, and then $25, but we accepted what the state offered, and we pretended, we as in the so-called leadership under Bill, Billy, whatever. But the emails, at least some that I got, is they're proud of what they did. But the bigger problem is that they've telegraphed the state that, hey, whatever you guys offer us under the leadership that's acting right now,
that's right,
we're going to take it. We're not even going to try.
That's right. Peter, you nailed it. You nailed it in 30 seconds.
That's all I got, Richard.
Peter.
Have a good night.
Oh, you too, Peter. Peter nailed it in 30 seconds. Whatever the state wants us to have, whatever they dictate to us, we're going to accept. I have asked people to cash at me, 408-207-2339. I'm going to make a prediction tonight. May 4th, 2022. If I'm not restored back with my presidential powers to fight for you, to ensure we get a quality contract, 21% across the board for everyone equally for our next contract, I guarantee you, you will not see a 21% pay increase. You won't see a change in anything. You'll continue to keep going through the same things you've been going through with the state of California for all these years. And when you finally voted and you saw the incumbent years ago lose in an historic election where 5 people ran for office. They don't ever tell you that. They say I only got 33% of the vote. 5 people ran for this office. The people spoke, I won. But they cannot respect the vote. Bill Hall cannot respect the vote. Why is he so set out against me? Is it really just because of politics? Or is there something deeper there? When they put in that email that I was the outgoing president and we have not had this case resolved yet through the internal process for the HR 1 or through the lawsuit that he has against me, but yet he's acting like he's the chair? He's acting like he's the chair? He's in charge? Why is he so strong in his mindset against me? Is it just because of politics? Is it just because of money? Or is it because I'm a black man that's fighting for people and he can't handle that? Let me smile. Because I don't want you to say that I'm getting mad and I'm angry. I'm not angry. I'm disgusted. I'm disappointed. I'm not discouraged. I'm more determined now than I ever was. I have tried to tell you this from the very beginning. But you said, don't make it about the money, Richard. Don't make it about the race. You better study American history. You better study American history. Because it's always been about the money and about race and religion and freedom of speech in this country. That's how we were created. And to all my Native Americans watching tonight, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let me smile. Now listen, we don't give up. We don't get discouraged. Elsa Wright, who's been supporting me many, many years. I want to thank you, Elsa. And to people on Facebook who's been supporting me on Facebook these last few months, and I haven't had a chance to give you a call out, a shout out, let me shout you out all together. Thank you. They are trying to destroy us. They want to keep things the way they are. I'm going to say a term, and you're not going to like it. They like you being a slave. They do. Keep you in a child status. Keep you begging. Keep you confused. Now, someone on Facebook, her name is Sandra Kent. I know Sandra, she knows me. 68 billion, fiscal year 22-23. 68 billion in surplus. And we still have billions of dollars from fiscal year 21-22 that's unspent. But yet they tell you accepting 50 and 25 was the best they could do. That's stupidity. That's silliness. That's the status quo. Trying to maintain your place on you by telling you that this is the best they can do. That's not the best they can do. The voters voted. We were not going to accept that as long as I was leading that telework discussion. I am not going to let the state of California disrespect you. If I had been the president, do you think you would have lost 2 days of pay for a whole fiscal year if I had been the president during the COVID upswing? Do you think you would have lost that money? You and I both know you would have lost a dime. And they would not have furloughed you. That's a lie. Let me smile. See, this is the hypocrisy of Local 1000. Being stuck in the status quo. Stockholm Syndrome. All right, so we go back to Evie. Go ahead, Evie.
One of the things that I was thinking about this week that really just, I was wondering about why all of this really hurt so deeply. And God is good all the time. So what I had was revelation. Many years ago, many decades ago, women were not allowed to vote. Women were not allowed to vote because they said, oh, we were property. We were property of our husbands. We didn't have the capacity to understand the voting process, so why waste a vote on women? as you know, African Americans weren't always allowed to vote. We sometimes take for granted what was so hard to receive. It was fought for, the right to vote. And what really upsets me about Bill Hall's actions, this white male, is that once again, he has put us back decades, centuries, saying, oh, yeah, you guys voted, but you didn't know what you were doing. I know better than you. Let me think for you. I know what you need. Just like they told women before, let your husbands vote for you. You don't need to vote. Let your husbands vote. They told African Americans, you guys don't vote because, you're half a human. How are we going to quantify that? So when you come and tell me that my vote doesn't count, that I am not intelligent enough for you to come to me with the facts and let me make up my own mind about whether or not President Brown is the right person for the job, it makes me remember the white males of yesteryear who said this exact same thing to us women and to us African Americans. Let me think for you. You're not capable of doing so. Well, Bill Hall, I'm telling you, I'm a very intelligent young lady. I can think for myself. God is good all the time. And he gave me a brain that works. So my vote counts all the time. Do not take away my right to be able to choose my own leader. You can't say, oh, I'm acting on behalf of the board, and then after you say that, not even allow the board to speak. Because in those meetings that you have, you don't even allow them to unmute themselves. You pick and choose who gets to speak. So isn't it high time we stop with the centuries-old status quo of this white male saying, you let me speak for you, because you know what? You'll muddle it all up.
And you know what, EB? See, I knew this day was coming. And I'm just going to be just honest. You got two types of black folks in America, EB. The kind who are with you and the kind who ain't. Okay? And a lot of people, these, as I call it, sometime black people, they'll love to go march on Black Lives Matter and act like, they're so concerned about other black people when they're not. It was just a social justice thing to make them look good. A lot of black folks get into positions of power and prestige, and then they'll tell you and I how to act and what to think. You're actually the aqueduct of people like Bill Hall. So I don't want people tonight to go away and say, oh, well, Richard's playing your race card. No, I'm not playing anything. This is what it is. Don't tell me how I'm feeling. I know how I'm feeling. And I know when the cops were at my house on May 25th at 5 o'clock in the morning, 2021, that I could have lost my life. So don't tell me how to feel. I'm not trying to hear it. None of that. Ever again.
President Brown,
yes.
You weren't speaking. I was speaking.
Yes.
Those were my words.
That's right.
Well, if anybody has a problem with my words, then they need to direct that towards me and not you, because I was speaking my truth.
That's right.
And I'm allowed to have that.
That's right. That's right. Strongly agree. And that's why when I hear a person like you and I talk, then I know from the community who I'm talking to. Because we have some people from the community, yeah, they may share our same skin color, EB, but they're not with us. And a lot of people looked at me sideways and they said that, I said, Local 1000 should not be involved in Black Lives Matter. That's not our responsibility. We're not a social justice organization. I campaigned on that. I stayed true to that. But I told people, as the days grow along, don't ever think that I'm not proud to be from the black community, because I am. And I'm true. But I'm fighting for everyone equally, regardless of their skin color. Period. And so that means that as the Local 1000 leader that was elected in 2021, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or anyone else. I'm fighting for you equally, and I will not demonize you because of your political party. Praise God. All right. And so if Evie wants to continue, we'll come back to her. We'll go to Derek Rowe. Go ahead, Derek.
Good evening, President Brown. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead, Derek.
Oh, good, good. So I just want to kind of go off of what Evie said.
Okay.
Evie kind of, when she spoke, it was like music to my ears.
Mm.
I'm hearing all this. You know, I'm Jewish, so I just got over my Passover, and I know a lot of Jews around the world just got over their Passover. And when I hear her speaking about the Almighty, the eternalness, the oneness of the world, it speaks in volumes. You know, we learned during Passover that when we were led out of bondage, when we came through a hard time through the desert, when we were led through the Exodus, that many people fell astray to idol worship, which is the greatest sin of all sins. And when I talk about idol worship, I'm talking about the golden calf. People were so desperate at the time that they made an idol out of anything. And I mean anything. They fell for anything because they were desperate in desperate times and they had desperate needs. So when I see people say, oh, well, the times are tough, we have to turn the other way now, and we have to turn away from what's righteous. Even though we know it's wrong in our heart, even though we know it's wrong in our soul, we have to turn the other way because it's too hard for us to continue going forward. I say don't turn forward. Don't turn that other way. Keep going. You know, there was a quote by Winston Churchill. He said, sometimes when you're going through hell, just keep going. Because you know what? You know, at the end, righteousness will always prevail. I'm here to say to those people who feel like we're in tough times, don't give up. I know right now times are tough, and they may be at the toughest times we have ever faced. But I am telling everyone who's listening in tonight, don't start worshiping those idols. These are false prophets. These people who are here trying to go against our president, our righteously voted president, Richard Brown, are false prophets. And trust me, the Almighty, the righteous, will prevail in the end. Thank you, President Brown. God bless. And have a good evening. I'm encouraging everyone out there. Stay strong. We'll get through these times.
Okay. Derek, thank you for that passionate call. You know,
Richard, this is Geraldine.
oh, yes, go ahead, Jerry.
President Brown, first time I've addressed you as that. I do when I write. I want to say a few words. I sort of scribbled them down, so if I pause, forgive me. I'm trying to read my own writing.
Okay.
I wrote, we know that SEIU 1000 is riddled with injustice and greed and illegal actions, immorality and unethical activities. We know that. We've seen that. We've asked ourselves, why are these people doing that? And really, there isn't an answer that we can give. We can observe, but we just spin our wheels trying to figure out the craziness that they do sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You have the opportunity to stand together with Richard and help him to maintain his position. And this is just a first early step. A second step could be that we work to increase solidarity. That is so important. And to do that, you have to decide, all of you that listen, and some of your friends, when they ask you or you talk about what was said tonight, the second thing that we need you to decide is whether you want Richard or the renegades from Yvonne Walker's time and the imposter, Mr. Bill. It's clean. There it is, right before you. It's either Richard or the renegades. How about you think about your tomorrows? There's just so much going on that just isn't right. This telework stuff is just the most blatant and recent of things. But there's lots of stuff going on. And folks, there's more to come, and you're not going to like it. But if you're not solid and you don't do some kick-ass things and help to get us up out of the, mud and get rolling and get enough people doing this, then, you can wait and see till the cows come home. But you didn't decide. Decide. I'm calling on all of you. Decide. My vote is for Richard, and he is doing a really fine job with those that do help him. But those of us who are helping him, we are lonesome out there. We hear what you're saying. We want you to act. So how about it? How about if you and your friends take a collection of $1 each, sign your name to it, and send it to Richard? That is your first step. It's not about money. That's why I chose $1. One little tiny dollar. I look forward to hearing what your response is. Have a good evening, and thank you, Richard, for letting me speak.
Thank you, Jerry Lee Fisher. Jerry Lee Fisher. Well, it appears that people are on fire tonight because people are talking fast. They're talking quick. They're making me earn this spotlight. She stated, number one, do you support Richard financially? Jerry Lee Fisher is being really nice. People have been donating, but I don't have enough money to continue on, but I'm going to continue on. Jerry says, do you support Richard financially? I'm going to give Jerry Lee Fisher the utmost respect. She's being really nice. She knows the $1 or $2 that she has sent me. And I know it too. Second thing, increase solidarity. Either you're for Richard or you're for them. She's right. Either you're for what's right or you're for what's wrong. There is no halfway. Number 3, telework, but blatant disregard for our dignity for what the representative employees of Local 1000 wanted off them surveys in 2021. And there's more to come, she stated. She's right. But she just inspired me, and so did Derek, and so did and so did Peter. All right, so we're gonna go back to Peter, and then we'll go back to Evie. So go ahead, Peter.
Okay, I don't like speaking, so I'm pretty wound up in order to be talking.
Okay.
And so some of the people that I've heard, they're justifying their behavior by saying that there needed to be a runoff if no candidate got at least 50%.
Okay.
Which kind of makes sense for the future. But if Yvonne Walker had got less than 50%, nobody would have cared because they would have been happy.
Right.
And it's like they're acting like a spoiled child is trying to change the rules of a game after it's over. And that's what the acting membership feels like, is that they're just a bunch of spoiled children running around trying to change the rules. And I wouldn't be too disappointed, Mr. President, with the number of people that might be currently watching on Facebook, because the people that dislike you, they're going to go back and they're going to watch this video over and over again, and it's going to be like sand in their shoes. It's just going to irritate them for nothing else. But it feels like a bunch of spoiled children just trying to change the rules after the game is over because they're not getting their way.
That's you know what, Peter? That's a very simplified way of stating what they're doing. Acting like spoiled children who didn't get their way. Which is funny because you're kind of going after me when I say that we've been signing these condescending, childlike contracts because we have spoiled children acting like contract negotiators. So when I talk about on my platform point about hiring professional contract negotiators and people got an attitude about it, the reason I wasn't trying to say that we weren't smart. I'm just saying we need professionals to really get a quality contract, and then we support by working together to ensure that, versus continuing to do the same old thing in the past of having, quote, spoiled children lead us in our contract negotiations. But that's a great point that you made. And then that 50% runoff. You know, in this country, it's winner take all in many cases. And in some cases, they do have a 50% runoff. But like you said, Peter, if the former president had won, would be no conversation. But I'm glad you brought up the former president, and I'm glad that Jerry Lee Fisher also brought up the former president about her legacy, Yvonne Walker. I want everyone to realize something. Whether you like me or not, whether you like my behavior or not, and oftentimes I'm being judged unfairly because of my passion, I want you to all realize this. If Yvonne Walker had won re-election, all of you would be vaccinated. All of you would be vaccinated against your wishes. All of you. Not just the healthcare workers. Every single one of you would have been vaccinated against your will. So when people say, well, Richard, it's not just about race, it's not just about money, it's about the fact that you stood up against Gavin Newsom. A man that's going to run for re-election, win re-election for the governor of the fourth largest economy on earth, and then down the road, he will run for president or U.S. Senate. You stood up against him. Who the hell do you think you are, Richard Lewis Brown, to tell Gavin you're not going to do what he tells you to do? Who are you, Richard? Well, Richard is the person that told you from the very beginning he wasn't going to let no one push us around. Richard was the person from the very beginning that told you we will become a labor union. That's who Richard Lewis Brown is. And I'm not going to let the state of California or anyone push you around. Let me say it for you in a different voice. Hi, I'm Richard Lewis Brown. And I won the election for local 1000 president in 2021. And I'm going to fight for you, and I'm going to stand by you and your families. And with the cost of inflation, gas going out of control, childcare out of control, housing prices out of control, I'm going to be here for you. Does that make you feel better? Is that the type of dignity and professionalism you're looking for? Because if that's what you're looking for, there's 1,001 politicians all across America from both parties telling you the same thing. And what did you get with that professionalism and dignity all these years from the former two presidents? Did they get you anything? They did not. They took what was given to them from the state of California, because we've never had a labor union. We've had a social justice organization, an aqueduct of the Democratic Party through SEIU International, Washington, D.C. Go ahead, Edie.
Thank you, President Brown. And I wanted to kind of touch on what you just recently said about vaccinations. So I did get vaccinated because that was my choice. Sometimes I think the message gets mirrored up and murky when people talk about, oh, he's a non-vaxxer or whatever. I really don't care if you're a non-vaxxer. I don't care about that. What I do care about is the true message behind what you're saying. People forget that it's a slippery slope when we give away our rights, because they don't take away, whether it's the state, whether it's the government, or anyone. They take away our rights in little increments. And it's done in a way to keep you so-called healthy. It's always presented in a way that's supposed to benefit you and help you. When we give up the right to control our own bodies and what goes into our bodies and our decision-making right, then we're going to next be giving away all kinds of other things. I know that there was a pandemic. I was the first one, I'm in the medical field, to say, okay, something needs to happen. But I don't agree in the government forcing people without clear evidence, forcing people to get a vaccine that's untested. They say, oh, it was tested. No, it was not. It got fast-tracked because we were in the pandemic. We were the test subjects. So I have a right to choose whether or not I want to participate in that test. And every other human being should have that right. I really did not like the fact that they made pregnant women, they forced pregnant women to get this vaccine. And we just don't have the data. See, in nursing, right now, they went from the nursing of old to the nursing of new, and we call it evidence-based nursing. Well, the evidence showed that people who got vaccinated were actually getting COVID more than the people who were unvaccinated. But they didn't say that to people. So I'm not an unvaxxer. No, I got vaccinated. But I do believe in people's rights. People have the right to ask those questions, and they shouldn't be humiliated or made to feel some kind of way because they have questions that must be answered before they make an informed decision about their own bodies. So, especially those who are in the Democratic Party, and we say, oh, women's rights, women's rights. Well, if that's us, and we're saying women's rights, then how about human rights? We need to not force things down people's throats and say, you must. We can encourage them, and we can educate them. But we shouldn't force, because slavery comes back that way. So the other thing I wanted to point out is that I don't know if you guys, if people understand that right now CalPERS is having an election. And to me, it seems like it's been kind of kept on the down low. Well, I was informed that our former president, Yvonne Walker, is running for a seat. So, that being said, look, if you were not happy about the way she spent the money as the president of our union, well, you better watch your retirement money, because you don't want to give anybody that gave away money for trips to her friends having an open checkbook to your retirement money. So protect what is yours, stay informed, ask those hard questions, and don't vote in the old status quo. So they went from she's going from being the president of the union, now she's going to CalPERS. Ask those questions. Is that really what you want? And if it's not, then vote. Your vote matters.
Well, Evie, I can't come behind that one. Evie has spoken, in my opinion, the gospel truth. I'm not even going to talk about that CalPERS and Yvonne Walker trying to run for a seat on CalPERS. That vaccination and human rights and people's rights, and how the government tries to slowly but surely take away our rights as U.S. citizens. Yes, I strongly agree. And I also was vaccinated. Let me go to, I'm trying to watch the Zoom and I'm watching Facebook. Quickly, Ali, I see you, Ali. I see you. I want you to know that. Okay? Colleen Coward, she asked the question, did you see a tension between Bill Hall,
I already know what I want.
the DLC 744 president, and the 3 VPs? Yes, there's tension. Because they're greedy. They all want the salary stipend. They all want to be the center of attention. But yet they didn't have the courage of their convictions to run for Local 1000 president because they were afraid of the former president. Listen to how I said that. They were afraid of her. She intimidated them. And so before someone says, well, what about when the 3 VPs from the last election tried to suspend her and they couldn't do it? Why were they able to suspend you successfully this time, but not her last time? Did Yvonne Walker ever try to fight the status quo? No. Did she ever try to fight for you? No. Do you think these 3 current VPs are fighting for you? No, you don't. Do you think that they're good talkers and they're really professional and they're highly dignified and they're very calm, cool, and collective? Let me tell you something about people who are very calm, cool, and collective. Those are your biggest hustlers out there. The ones that smile in your face, tell you all the things you want to hear, and in the meantime, you're suffering with your children and your spouse while they're in the best restaurants putting their kids through private school. Except in this case,
No,
these particular individuals,
I would like a very valid
these particular individuals are not even smart enough to get that. And I'm not judging Bill Hall and these 3 VPs, but let's call it out for what it is. They didn't have the courage of their convictions to run for president. They were too afraid. That's who they are. And I see you, Colleen, you said, no, she sold us out. You're absolutely right. And I'm not trying to sound negative about the former president. I'm just telling you about her actions. She sold you out from the time she was elected in 2008. Maybe if people say, well, you shouldn't say that about her, or you shouldn't talk about Bill, Irene, or Annika Walls, or David Jimenez, then have them debate me. Anytime they got the courage of their convictions, have them debate me. They don't want this. No, they don't. Remember when they said that Annika was on those conference calls about how to do the HR1 process to remove me from office right after I had one on May 24th, 2021? Does anyone remember that? Or did you conveniently forget? There is an orchestrated, well thought out, well planned strategy to remove me from office because I'm fighting the status quo. I am fighting Gavin Newsom. And I know a lot of people say, you shouldn't do videos right now, Richard. You should be quiet and keep your head low. You should know your place. No, I don't know my place in this great country. Okay? I don't know it and I never will. If I knew my place, I wouldn't ran for president of Local 1000. My place is where God puts me at. And if God says, hey, this is all you're going to get done, if that is what God says through Jesus Christ, then that is something I have to accept. But what I'm telling you now, what Derek said about the trials and the tribulations when they left Egypt and they fell into the idol worship, looking for the promised land, and what many of you say, whether you believe in God or not, the idea of not giving up, we are U.S. citizens, we don't quit. We stand up for what is right. And I don't like talking politics. I don't. But what those people are going through in the Ukraine, woo, okay. I'll let it go. So it's now 7:33. Tonight is about the status quo. Oh, I see Evie's hands raised again. I'll say, go ahead, Evie.
Thank you, President Brown. I have a question for you. So I heard you say that that there was a problem with hiring contract negotiators. question is, why is it okay to spend money on, and I'll repeat, $300 to $600 plus per hour for neutral hearing officers and lawyers for an HR1 that's unnecessary, and not spend money so that we can get professional contract negotiators, so that we can get a very good, substantial contract?
And the reason, and I'll say this really quickly, the reason why they can hire these attorneys to try to run me out of office so they can maintain the status quo. And the reason why they don't want to hire professional contract negotiators, because a professional will come in and ensure that we get justice in the state of California. We just won't accept anything and everything. And as the president of Local 1000, when I was elected in 2021, I was going to ensure that that happened. That's why. Go ahead.
Well, I appreciate your hard work and your dedication to the members, because the difference between those two, this HR1 process that Ms. Annika Walls continues to have is unnecessary, and it's self-serving. It's not member-serving, it's self-serving. However, money spent on the contract negotiators would be for the members. And so far, I haven't seen any type of decision that they've made that's truly just for the members. Because all of these so-called board meetings that Bill Hall has had has been to serve his own purpose, not the members at large.
And so, let me say this. I want to go back to what you said when you first called. You said the BOD has forgotten about what their job was. No, they haven't. You had your opinion, so I'm just going to give you my opinion from my years with this union. The board of directors was never for membership. The board of directors is for themselves. It's a little group of people, and not all of them are like that, because you have some really good DOC presidents and bunk chairs. Not all of them. But there is a certain number on that board that are about themselves, and they're inspired by one person, Yvonne Walker. And let me say this to Colleen Coward. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And you're right. We've had some, quote, shitty contracts. Stinky. You know? And with my election, we're just going to get that stickiness out of here. But they want to continue to do things the way it's always been done. And so even when you say, hey, we're not a BOD-run union, we're a member-run union. You're absolutely right. That's the way it should be. But it's never been like that. And I think people who come into this and they see what they're up against, they say, why am I wasting my time giving $90 a month max? Unless you do you agree to do $2 additional. And those $2 additional will be used for issues. Also the candidate pack. I can't remember. So anyway, why am I giving away all this money? When I could be doing something else. And I know people like Heather Chapman, you say time and money feels like it's wasted. No, it feels that way. And I see you, Bob, fine. I'm doing okay, Bob. It's not wasted. We have to keep fighting. They're trying to destroy our desire for a better life. And they'll do anything and everything to convince you that I'm this person that was sent by the devil to destroy you. And you know in your heart, regardless of my good days or my bad days, your spirit tells you something different. And for those who understand that their spirit, whether they believe in God or they don't believe in God, but there's something telling them that Richard's okay. He may not be perfect, but when it comes to our money and fighting for us, we can count on him. We can't count on these other people. You know that. Your spirit is telling you that. That's that righteousness that you can't quite understand what's going on, but you know I'm telling you the truth. And the more they try to run me out of here, the more you know, oh wow, he is the real deal. Because they're trying to run me out completely. They'll say anything and everything they can about me. They'll take a little bit of truth and a whole lot of lie, and they'll mix it in. Thank you, Heather. And they'll throw it up there and say, hey, we got to get him out of here. He's a detriment to the union. No, the only detriment I am is a detriment to the status quo of Local 1000 and to the politicians here in this state of California that relies on our money to get them where they want to go, and then they turn right around and take your money back from you again. That's what I know. That is what I know. You know it, and I know it. And Bill Hall, Annika Walls, Gary Jimenez, Irene Green, Teresa Taylor, or any other so-called wannabe Local 1000 leaders, the truth is not in them. It never has been, and it never will be. You say, well, Richard, it sounds like you're being judgmental. Richard, it sounds like you're judging them. And if you judge them, you'll be judged. You're right, I will be judged. I know my shortcomings, but I know when it comes to fighting for you and this money and your dignity for Local 1000, I'm not trying to steal your money or your dignity. I'm the one fighting for you. Remember those people up there in Lassen County, those state employees at the CCC? I never turned my back on you. And they did not want me going up there to fight for your jobs. They wanted you to just give up, give your jobs away, and they'll send you where they want to send you. And not just at CCC, High Desert, you're next. But I didn't turn my back against people because we're under a signed contract. We should not be losing jobs while under a signed contract. And we did a rally on August 27th talking about that. But they didn't like that. And this is why these so-called Local 1000 leaders, some of them, not all of them, because we're not going to stereotype the entire board, but some of these people on the board, the truth is not in them. And it never has been. And it never will be. Now, you say, well, didn't you try to, we saw an email that went out. You tried to do a TRO against them. And it failed. That's what they put you in the email. They also put in the email that I'm the outgoing president too. The truth will come out. Now remember, we don't give up. We don't give in. I have said this to you over and over again. It takes money to fight these evil people. I need your money to keep this fight going. 408-207-2339. As Jerry Lee Fisher said, have you supported Richard? Have you given him at least $1? Are you with Richard or are you with them? She didn't say, are you with Bill? Are you with Annika and David? Are you with Irene? She said, either you're with Richard or are you with them? Tonight's been an interesting night. Now, in these emails, they've been telling you, hey, we got to purple up. Now, remember, when I took over, when we sent out emails, I never talked about purpling up. What has purple done for you in Local 1000? Other than make you feel like you're somebody. But did they tell you to purple up during the furlough fiasco with Schwarzenegger? Did they tell you to furlough? Did they tell you put your purple on and that's going to protect you against this furlough? Did it? Did it? Did that purple and gold protect you against the furlough? 3 days of pay loss. First 2, then 3. Did the purple save your home from being foreclosed on? Did it save your car from being repossessed? Did it save your marriage, that purple and gold? Or did it help you get a divorce faster? Did the purple and gold stop the 2010 PLP one-day pay loss? And while under that signed contract, did that purple and gold from International in D.C. fly in the purple plane, in the purple rain, and stop the 2012 PLP? Did the purple and gold stop that PLP of fiscal year 2021 where you lost 2 days? Where was the purple people at then? Where were they? Couldn't find them. Okay, let's go back to Evie. Go ahead, Evie. Okay, Evie, I thought you had your hand raised. Hello? Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So thank you for letting me speak, President Brown.
Okay.
I noticed something in this last email that they sent, and they kind of slid it in there. I don't know if everybody else noticed it, but they were talking about how we've got 19 more members, and they had all these people from international. First off, international shouldn't have my information. They said, oh, they believe they signed the agreement not to give away our information or non-disclosure or whatever. They shouldn't be giving my information to international. So our info should be here in the state of California with just local 1000.
No, that's not how it works though, EB. EB, because we're an affiliate, we're like a McDonald's, and McDonald's headquarters is in Washington, D.C. Because we're an affiliate, they get access to our information. I thought, a lot of people don't know that, but they do get access to our members' information.
See, that's wrong, because I notice I'm getting a lot of emails from...
Yes, political emails.
All of these political emails from... I didn't give them my info. Why am I getting all these political emails? I joined Local 1000 so that I can have people talk and fight for my rights in the workplace.
Right.
I don't want a whole lot of political emails.
So,
and also, I don't understand why they're so happy about getting 19 more members when we're losing hundreds.
Now,
especially because of the fact that they took away our president. Just in my work area alone, I've had dozens of people who were so upset. They were like, forget this union. So you got 19? So how much money did you spend, having people on membership drives to get 19 members?
So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad for all your comments tonight. They told you they had 19 new members. From one perspective, I'll say this. 19 new members, I love it. I love it. Are we losing too many members? Absolutely. At least that's what they tell us. Why are we losing members? Because of what they're doing to me. But what you're really doing is, it's not the fact that they're trying to run me out of the union. It's the fact that you're silencing the voice of membership who voted. Gregory Lucas, I saw your text. Thank you. Evie, the reason why you're getting all these political emails all of a sudden, and Colleen Coward, I see you too. The reason why you're getting these political emails, they're trying to recondition you. Because when I took over, you wasn't getting those political emails. Because I was standing by my platform, no political spending. So everything I said I was going to do was in my platform, I was doing it. Well, here's the problem. Politicians will tell you, we're going to protect you and your family. And then once they get into office, they don't do anything. And this is why, even though I'm in a political position, I'm not a politician. I told you exactly what I was going to do. I had a game plan. I still have a game plan in case some of you are wondering, do I still have a game plan that once I win all this and they put me back in office, are you going to really fulfill your game plan? Absolutely. But no political spending. Because we have non-Democrats in our union. This union promotes the entire Democratic agenda. How do I know that? Because it comes from International in D.C. SCIU International, Service Employees International Union in D.C. is affiliated with the Democratic Party, not the Republican Party. So I'm not crazy. I'm not silly. I'm college educated, 4-year degree in finance. I serve this country. I am from Missouri, and my name is Richard Lewis Brown, and I know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not trying to sound all loud tonight. I know I haven't talked with this type of passion in quite some time. But this is madness. And I'm trying to articulate the feelings of the E.B. Lynches and the Derrick Rogues, Kelly Newbies. Even though they can really articulate for themselves, they don't really need my help. But I do like to put a little touch on it, because I know how to get somebody's attention. And when I tell you these people, Local 1000, are not for you, I know what I'm talking about. They're not for you, some of these people, and they've never been for you. And they've been pulling these games for years. But now since I've been in office, it's hard to come behind me and keep running the same mind game when I've told you the truth. And now you know the truth from those PowerPoint presentations I gave you all those months. And now they come out telling you this and telling you that. And you see them reverting back to what they know, which is politics as normal. That's the past practice. Politics. And they'll keep taking from you, and taking from you. Let me tell you something, everyone, tonight. On May 4th, 2022. Gavin Newsom, he didn't have to take 2 days from you for fiscal year 2021. He could have taken 4 days from you. And you would have continued to go to work, and this union would have continued to give him anything and everything he wants. And maybe that's what it takes. Maybe you have to lose a whole week, 2 weeks of your check for a period of time for you to wake up and say enough is enough. We got to get Richard back into that position. Faster than later. Sooner than later. That is the gospel truth. So as Jerry Lee Fisher said, either you're for Richard or you're against Richard. There is no sitting on the sidelines. There's no playing it neutral, playing it safe, smiling with the VP here. I'll take this from this VP here, playing your cards. Because you can best believe when I'm put back in my rightful position, I'm going to remember every single thing. Everything. I'm going to remember everything. I will not forget. Now we stay positive. I don't need anybody to rush on stage and slap me across my face. I don't need all that. I wish somebody would try that though. I mean, if you feel like you need to, come on the stage or with me or whatever and slap me in my face, if that's what you feel you have to do. All right. But it's a funny thing. Certain people you can slap and get away with. Do you think you can come and slap me across my face? Remember Mayor Kevin Johnson a couple years ago? The guy tried to come on stage and throw a pie in his face. And Kevin had to give him some of that old school Oak Park love and attention. Remember that? Okay. This is a slap in your face, what they're doing to me. It's a slap in your face. It's a kick in your groin. And they tell you to feel good about it, that you needed the discipline. Last time I checked, Local 1000 ain't your mama. It's not your mother or your father. Last time I checked. Now, if I'm wrong, then I fall back. We're not giving up. We are not giving up. We're going to keep hope alive. All right? Now, I need people to cash at me. I need people to be talking with their coworkers. Because this is the first time in Local 1000 history where you elected a real leader. That's why they're trying to run me out of here. I keep saying this. And I know some people are saying, Richard, how much can you take? Aren't you tired? Don't you just want to quit and go home? I got a 3-year contract with you. 3-year contract. 3 years. And it started in the year of 2021. 3-year contract. It doesn't say, well, things get tough, Richard. I just got to quit. I got to resign my position for the greater good of the union. Oh, no, no, no. I ain't resigning anything. I got elected. The voters voted, they put me in. Is it my fault that the other people couldn't get their act together and couldn't work together? Their strategy didn't work? That's not my fault. That's not my responsibility. I'm on a 3-year contract. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, tell Bill Hall and the 3 VPs and anyone else listening tonight on May 4th, 2022, I don't care if the attorneys are listening. I am not going out without a fight. I'm not going out. I mean that. And if you feel the same way as I do, not about me, but about yourself, about your spouse, about your children, about your country. If you feel that this country is worth fighting for, then you'll stand by my side. If you feel that it's worth fighting for. If you don't believe in this country, then that is your constitutional freedom. So let me go find some real ones that believe in fighting. Because that's how this country was created, off of fight, off of determination. Did some people get hurt? Yes, they did. Some people did get hurt. And we're trying to make amends of that right now. We're not giving up at Local 1000. They signed this telework agreement. Wrong move, bad decision. We'll get this corrected. We're going to get this union under control. I need to know who's with me and who's against me. And if you're too afraid to say that you're with me, and you're too afraid to go out and let people know publicly that you support your president, then I know where you stand, and it's not with me. All right. Listen, it's almost 8 o'clock. We started at 6:31, 6:32, something like that. Today's May 4th, 2022. And it appears that we had a lot to talk about this evening. And I want to thank everyone on Facebook. I want to thank everyone on the Zoom. And some people, I don't get a chance to really tell them how much they've helped me over the years. But Evie Lynch had said that, she said, quote, I am Local 1000. And I know that we are Local 1000. And to all those people who never lost hope, who continue to fight and support me, and all these things you've heard about me, and you say, hey, look, whether they're true, whether they're not true, there's something about Richard that I believe in. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you think this is tough when I'm going through, you're absolutely right. It is tough. It's almost like a contract negotiation. They're trying to break my will, and I refuse to be broken. But more importantly, they're trying to break your will. They don't want you sending me money. And even though Local 1000 should be paying for my attorney fees, and I'm working on that as we speak, they're trying to destroy you so that they can make you get vaccinated the next time, the next coronavirus, or I don't know, some type of new virus shows up. They're going to make you get vaccinated. And then you're going to remember me. You're going to remember me, and they said they ran him out if they're able to. But first, he put our faith in a positive mindset. I put my faith in God, Jesus Christ. We're going to keep fighting. And these people who are lying on Facebook about me and lying, and they send out these lying emails stating they're trying to do their best to help you, we're going to expose these people. If you go to these other calls on Tuesday night or on Wednesday night tonight, you should ask them, so why don't you ever debate Richard out in the open? See, you can always tell who pretend that they're tough and that they're going to fight for you, but they're too afraid to address me in a live debate. Because I'm going to bring up all the things from the past, all the things Yvonne Walker did. You know, the trips to Israel. Remember that trip that she gave to Teresa Taylor, the $1,800 trip to Napa? What was it? The $4,500 trip for Margarita Maldonado? So y'all forget all these things, but I don't. If I tell you that it was racial, you say, no, it's not. If I tell you it's about money and the politicians, you say, no, it's not. Then what the heck is it about then? Why are they so dead set to get me out of office? Why are they doing every single thing they can to get me out of here? Why is that? They're fighting me harder and faster and stronger than they'll ever fight the state of California. They'll do whatever the state of California tells them to do. But yet, they're doing everything they can to run me out of office. What does that tell you? If you need to tell your coworkers, this guy is legit. I don't care what they say about him, he's legit. Who else gives you their phone number and calls you back? All right. Tonight was about, the status quo and how we fight the status quo. It's 8 o'clock, May 4th, 2022. I'm Richard Lewis Brown. Keep hope alive. Yes, we can. We can create a new culture of excellence for Local 1000 because I am Local 1000 and together we are Local 1000. And what do? We inspire the impossible. Mwah. Love you. I'll see you next week. Good night.